Hi there! I was told to see Human Resources.
Ah, yes. I see you've made it through the interview process. Welcome to the Sith.
Why, thank you.
Now, here is your dark cloak.
Ooh.
And your orientation manual.
Right. This is nice. Nice. Okay, so I was told we get a Sith name. So I was thinking something dark, like
Oh, honey, you don't get to pick your own Sith name.
Darth Boy? This is some kind of joke, right?
Oh no, all the good ones are taken. Don't worry, just make it your own. And read your manual, it'll help.
Whoa! Hey guys! Everyone has their favorite edition of the Star Wars RPG. And there have been a few. D6, D6 Revised, D20, D20 Revised, Saga, Fantasy Flight. Some people like this one, some people like that one. Yeah, they're all good, from a certain point of view.
A certain point of view?
Stop that, Luke. Today we're going to take a closer look at one of these editions, the Saga Edition. It was named because it was supposed to bridge all of the time periods of Star Wars to date when it was released. Which at the time, it was 2007, so that was the original trilogy and the prequels and some of the extended universe stuff, you know, before Disney retconned it. And we all know the extended universe was a pathway to many
abilities some consider to be unnatural.
I know a good deal of people interested in this edition because it was the third and final crack at making a D20 version of Star Wars. You know, the D20 system, it's what powered 3rd edition Dungeons & Dragons. The name even sticks to the current version, 5th edition. We still call it D20, right? A few mechanics that are in 5th edition D&D can actually be traced back to this edition of Star Wars. More on that later. What's important to know is that if you play Dungeons & Dragons, Star Wars Saga Edition is going to feel very familiar. And players that are on the fence about moving out of their little D&D safe space will be much more inclined to give this a go. The Saga Edition books are all published and done with. They don't make them. No new copies. You can't even find PDFs for sale on DriveThruRPG. I'm lucky to have a complete set, because nowadays, buying these books can be quite pricey. Yeah, really pricey. It also had a companion game, Star Wars Miniatures, which was a collectible miniature game. Kind of like Magic the Gathering, you'd open up a pack of cards and you'd see what cards you get. This one, you'd open up a box of miniatures and you never knew what you were gonna get in there. The miniature game had its own rules and competitive tournaments, but worked perfectly with the RPG. Like most RPGs, you don't need all the companion books, so I'm gonna be focusing solely on the main book. Also, it keeps the price down, you just need the one book. If you want me to take a deeper dive into all of the supplemental books that are part of this series, tell me in the comments below. Maybe I'll do it. Huh. The books themselves, actually, let me go grab my book. So here it is. This is my copy of Star Wars, the role-playing game. As you can see, it's gotten a lot of love over the years. I use this for so many great games. It's got a weird smell now. It's actually, woo, old book smell. The finest of wines. The first thing you're going to notice is the books themselves are smaller than most standard RPGs, giving them a kind of distinctive coffee table book-like style. I personally prefer it. I like my books small, compact. They're easier to transport, get to the game. It's easier to find what you're looking for on the page. Yeah, it's much better all around in my opinion. The art inside is amazing. It's light on actual screen grabs from the movies, and heavy on original artwork displaying endless possibilities of an RPG, emphasizing your character as the hero here. Each chapter is color-coded. Hey! So it's easy to find out what you're looking for. The only fault here is that some player critical information is found at the back of the book next to the game mastering section. Now, I gotta get back to my Sith office. Yeah, that's that way.
This is your command ship. Your manual will tell you all about its daily operations.
Now this is what I'm talking about! An impressive, ominous ship that dwarfs all others. Something to inspire fear in my enemies. It's really big, right?
Oh yes, it's the biggest I've ever seen.
Yeah, you're not just saying that, are you?
No, when I see it, I get both excited and a little bit frightened.
Yeah, you're damn right you are. As I said before, if you played D&D, making a character here is going to feel really familiar. You got your 6 abilities, you got your starting races, you got your 5 classes, you got your basic attack bonus, your skills, your feats. There's a few new additions here. They've combined saving throws and armor class into 3 defenses: Reflex, Fortitude, and Will. When anything affects a character, it will roll an attack against one of these 3 defenses. For example, if you use a mind trick against an opponent, you will have to exceed their character's will defense.
You will take me to Jabba now.
It'll talk about Jabba now.
If you're dodging blaster bolts, it will be against the reflex defense. And if you're poisoned, the poison rolls attack against your fortitude defense. I'm not sure how poison makes an attack roll. It's about as silly as midi-chlorian.
They live inside me.
Inside yourselves, yes. And we are symbionts with them.
We are Venom.
But let's keep moving on. Skills can be trained or untrained. This was the first Wizards of the Coast system to institute this type of skill system. No complicated numbers or anything. You either have it or you don't. It's the same system used now in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Everyone can take a crack at any skill, even without training. Just roll the die, add your ability modifier, and if you're trained, you add +5 to the roll. You can even use some more advanced features of the skill if you're trained. This was a really interesting mechanic for the time, even though there were some balance issues with it, especially if you added the skill focus feat, which gives you another +5 to the roll. It just made any skill you used insane. So you get a choice of 17 races in the main book. Some from the original trilogy, like Ewoks, Gamorrean, Wookiees. Some from the prequels, like Syrians, Gungans, Zabrak. Technically, you can play a droid, but they buried those rules in the back of the book, and they're mostly for the Game Master to make droid NPCs. You can also play the mythical Bothan race. Yeah, mythical. Have you ever seen a Bothan in any of the movies? In the cartoons? Yeah, that's because Bothan isn't a race, it's a person's name.
Many Bothans died.
So here's to you, noble and professional spy Manny Bothan's hero of the Alliance!
Oh, Danny boy.
The 5 classes you can play are Jedi, Noble, Scoundrel, Scout, and Soldier. Some people may miss the Force Adept class that was in earlier editions. Force Adept was pushed over to the Prestige classes. Every class does not have a set progression. They have talents, and talents can be picked in any order as long as there are no prerequisites. This allowed for a great deal of character customization. If you're a Jedi and want to be a great warrior like your father, you can do that.
Great warrior? Force not make one great.
Or you can be a Jedi Mystic instead. This concept is one found in all of the classes. So you can make a Scoundrel that is less a pilot and more of a
card player, gambler, scoundrel. You'd like him.
The talent and feat system together give a player an insane amount of customization. Ways to grow their character in places you never even probably thought of. This is a double-bladed lightsaber though. Sure, you can make anything you want, but you are going to spend a great deal of time looking through all of your options and may succumb to choice paralysis. Unable to make choices because you might make the wrong choice. You'll get the wrong thing and someone says, why did you get that instead of this? This is so much better. As you increase in levels, things get worse, as you will accumulate a good deal of powers and just begin to forget to use them in critical situations. What you'll need is focus. So this is where prestige classes can help. Anyone familiar with 3rd edition D&D or Pathfinder can understand a prestige class. They are specialized classes that you can attain when you gain a certain amount of experience and power. These powers can be very specific to that prestige class. A player can choose from Ace Pilot, Bounty Hunter, Crime Lord, Elite Trooper, Force Adept, Force Disciple, Gunslinger, Jedi Knight, Jedi Master, Officer, Sith Apprentice, and Sith Lord. As you grow a character, you might tailor it so you can grow into one of these new paths, with their own special talents. If you want to be an officer, my ship! So let's talk Army. What do we have?
Our cloning facilities are second.
Second to none?
Second to most other cloning facilities.
Hello? 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 This is great! We're gonna be unstoppable! Where's the bathroom? Roll a 20-sided die. Add your modifiers. Beat a difficulty number. That is basically it. It's the same mechanic as in any D20 system. What you're used to from Dungeons & Dragons. Now, that isn't really the end of the story. You can further modify any roll by spending a force point or destiny points. Force points are a little extra oomph that you can give any skill or attack roll by adding extra d6s that scale with your level.
Impressive.
You don't need to be a Jedi to use force points. This manifestation of the Force is in everyone. Destiny points are like force points on steroids. They can swing any battle in your favor. You can cause an attack to miss, or give yourself a critical hit, or save a comrade, or any other number of shenanigans.
Most impressive.
You only get one a level, but you can be awarded more by the Game Master if you are following your destiny. So, destiny is basically an overarching goal you have for your character. When you fulfill your destiny, you get a permanent bonus to your character and can get a new destiny. But really, nobody used destiny points this way. We gave people destiny points for being generally cool in the play of their character. Or, they made a funny joke, or saved another person, or brought pizza. That guy got a destiny point. So let's get to combat. When you want to act, you have 3 actions: a swift, a move, and a standard. You can take one of each, or sacrifice a greater action for a lesser. This can allow you to do cool things like take time to aim, switch weapons instead of moving, that sort of thing. It's a pretty solid mechanic. For damage, they did something a little different as well. They added something called a damage threshold. In most D20 systems, you have hit points, which is a stupid and lazy mix of expending energy to nearly miss attack, or it's just a flesh wound that doesn't slow you down, whatever. Well, Star Wars tried to take this to heart. Whenever you take hit points, it never actually directly damages you unless it exceeds your damage threshold. If your damage threshold is 13, and you take 13 or more points of damage to your hit points, it is a direct hit and you move one step down the condition track. It's a pretty cool idea. Unfortunately, it was executed poorly. You see, your threshold was based mostly on your fortitude defense, which goes up by 1 every level. You get to high levels and damage threshold becomes irrelevant. So this is symptomatic of a greater issue with the game. At high levels, the game just breaks down. It becomes unplayable. The biggest reason is that every defense goes up by 1 every level, but not everyone's attack does. If you're anything but a Jedi or a soldier, you're just not going to hit anything. you'll have to use a force point every time. And don't get me started on if you're lower level than your opponent. I'm sure you've all seen the epic battle between Vader and Luke. Here's their stat blocks. Simple math here. Vader has a reflex defense of 39. Luke has an attack of 14. If Luke rolls a 19, he only hits a 33. He must roll a 20 to hit, or use up all of his Destiny and Force points. You might say, well, that's just what he did then. But dummy, Vader also has Destiny and Force points to counter with. The game makes no sense in relation to what you see in the movies, and that's mostly because at high levels, the game's broken. Oh god! What happened? I thought we'd be unstoppable!
Well, if you read your manual, you would see that every super weapon has a crippling weakness.
Wait, who built a crippling weakness into a super weapon?
It's a union compromise. Every super weapon has a crippling flaw, and in exchange they waive health insurance. We could fix everything, but then you'd have to pay their premiums.
Oh, no. I don't want to pay their premiums. Give me the flaw. Wait a minute. Everything's on fire. Why are you so calm?
Oh, I'm not actually here. This ship has a crippling flaw.
So let's talk about what you really came here for. How do I throw stuff with my mind? Here's where things get a little more complex. First, you need the feat, Force Sensitive. This gives you access to the Use the Force skill. With this skill, you can do small things like, get weird feelings through the Force, make small objects fly around and float, that kind of stuff. The next step is to get a feat called Force Training. This is supposed to show specialized training in the Force of specific techniques. Here's where you can do stuff like, run like Sonic, shoot lightning bolts, block blaster bolts with your hands, all that stuff. But you can't use it all the time. Force Training gives you a couple powers depending on your wisdom score. Each power you buy goes into your Force Suite. Now, a Force Suite, it's not that room that Yoda sits in where he has the little chair and he talks to Obi-Wan Kenobi. No. A Force Suite is actually a pool of powers that you can use in combat. You can use any power only once per combat, unless you buy multiple copies of that power. After a minute of rest, boom, your Force Suite resets and you can do it all over again. If you need access to a power you already used, you can spend a Force point, put it back in your Force Suite. Being a Force user can be very expensive, with multiple feats and skill trainings, unless you're a Jedi who gets all of that stuff at character creation for free. If you're looking to play a game that's about discovering your latent Force ability naturally, this isn't the edition you should be playing, since it incentivizes players to just play a Jedi right out of the box. A couple other things you'll need to know about this book. It lacks in the fluff department. If you want to know how the Empire works, or what Rebel rankings are, or what types of blasters are available on the market from what brands, you're not going to find that in here. It does have a very small section about the different planets, but the details are extremely light. I assume that they wanted you to buy books like The Essential Guide to Planets and Moons, or other books of that nature to fill in those details. But just be warned, if you don't know much Star Wars lore, this book's not going to help. It does come with a really neat full-color map to use with miniatures. So if you have minis, that's great, but there is no adventure module included in the book. If you're an experienced game master, this is all fine and good, but people new to RPGs are going to be out of luck. Mercifully, there's a handful of pages at the back of the book on how to create adventures and campaigns, and a few NPCs that are already fleshed out to throw at the players. So what does this game do well? We'll make a bullet point list right here. First, you can make very customizable characters with a depth of personality. Rules are relatively easy, building on existing popular games so new players can jump right in. And it has a great Star Wars feel in the best traditions of the Star Wars prequels. What are the problems? Well, it's got balance problems. You can't fight above your level without getting destroyed. The game breaks down at high levels, and some low-level abilities can break the game as well. Little support for game masters unfamiliar with the Star Wars RPGs. And it's out of print and the books can be pricey. So, brass tacks, do I recommend this game? Yeah! Despite its problems, it's super fun! I can see why this is the favorite edition of many people. If you have access to the books or invited to a game, I wouldn't dare stick my nose up at it. So, if you are playing a game, as you play, you might want to add some homebrew rules, just to keep the game feeling fair as your game grows.
Well, that's it. I'm totally defeated. Those rebels may have got me, but at least I'm still a Sith Lord.
Actually, I'm sorry to say there's been a hiring error. You see, there are only supposed to be two, a master and an apprentice. We'll have to terminate you. You should be receiving official paperwork in 3 to 4 business days. Thank you for watching. Make sure to click the like button in triplicate and hit subscribe. We also have a suggestion box where you can leave a comment. Remember to suggest a game system or module you would like us to review. If you dislike this video, that's too bad, as we are altering the deal. Pray we do not alter it further.
This deal is getting worse all the time.